Alrighty, we're in Maine with,
Curtis Arnold.
and where exactly in Maine are we?
This is Old Orchard Beach.
So you just came here alone just to relax?
Well, actually, I did a couple of shows today. I do these shows called Memory Lane shows. And one was at the Maine Veterans Home. These are movies that I produced. And the one at the Maine Veterans Home was a 1948 movie. All the top songs from 48, movies, TV, etc. Not much TV in 48, but. And then this afternoon, after lunch, I did another show at Scarborough Terrace, and this was 1950. Again, the same type of thing. So I have 12 different shows, 1948 through 1959. That I do at these assisted living facilities. And as a matter of fact, I mean, can I just keep on talking here? Do you have, well, I have one show I do called The History of the Old Orchard Beach Pier and all the entertainers who played there. So this was a very famous place back in the late 1800s and all the way through the first half of the century. This was the largest pier in the world that you see behind us. The largest steel pier in the world. It was 4 times the size of today's pier. You needed a tram to go out to the end.
Wow.
And all the big bands played there, the Dorsey Brothers, Frank Sinatra, Louis Armstrong. It's a very famous place. And so my documentary is about the history of Old Orchard Beach here and the Old Orchard Beach Pier, which again was an interesting place.
You also mentioned you're a musician?
Yes, I've been a musician all my life.
What do you play, a bunch of instruments?
I do. I play guitar, piano, and harmonica.
Oh, and what's your favorite kind of music?
I do, and really just about everything. I don't know that I have a favorite. I like the 50s, I like the 60s.
So just to understand you correctly, your documentary, you produced it.
Yes. Yes.
Did you direct it or edit it?
Yes. Yes. Yes, I do all that. Doing research, finding original footage. Like I have footage from as early as 1898. And the first famous person who played here, his name was Rudy Valley, and he played here in 1928. Well, if you were alive in 1928, Rudy Valley was the Elvis Presley of the day. He was a movie star and a recording star, too. And he actually came from Westbrook, which is only about 10 miles away from here. And I used to hear stories about him when I was a very little kid because my grandmother went to high school with him and was friends with him. So again, that's like being friends with Elvis back in the day.
So is that what got you interested in these musicians and stuff, your grandmother? Or?
No, I got interested in music in the... Well, I've always been interested in music. I don't know what got me interested in music. Maybe Elvis.
About how much was it to finance your documentaries or your shows?
There's nothing to finance it. Just do the research on YouTube.
How long did it take you to research all that stuff?
Each show takes about 100 hours. I have 18 different shows, 18 different documentaries. But I think what is interesting and about today and about you stopping here and doing this YouTube channel and stopping here, and I'm sitting here on Old Orchard Beach, is that I know the history of Old Orchard Beach. So that's kind of interesting.
What's your favorite part of the history? What's the greatest insight that you learned about the ground that we're standing on?
The insight. Well, I don't know if there's any real insight. Where we're standing right now, the first people standing right here, and things were a little changed as far as the landscape, were the Abenaki Indians. And then in 1603, Old Orchard Beach was discovered by, I forgot his name, but a guy who came from England on a ship. He was only 23 years old. He had a crew of 20, and he landed here, discovered Old Orchard Beach, the early 1600s.
And then they tried to like find food.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know if you knew this, but back in the 1700s, for example, the 1800s, lobsters, when you mention food, were like just practically thrown away because they just didn't think of much of lobster as a food. And now, of course, I just walked by a place on my way to the beach, 100 yards away, and lobster roll was $20.
Wow. Yeah, I heard they would give it to like prisoners. Lobster.
That's right. Yeah.
I also heard the Peak Island. It was also a very popular spot. Once it was called the what was it? The Coney Island of.
Really, Coney? Yeah. Well, I don't know too much about Peaks Island, but I understand.
What was your what was the connection of the assisted living place? They're the older folks who kind of enjoy that kind of the demographic you made it for.
Exactly. I have a theory regarding that like most of the people that I played to today most of them were probably in their 90s. And when you get older, obviously, you lose more and more memories. So as you lose these memories, you start to lose your identity because we're really nothing more than the sum total of our memories. Think about it, even your age, anybody's age. You are the sum total of your memories. So by producing these movies, which are very short clips, usually like a minute or so, it acts as a catalyst to bring these memories back to these people, which brings them back a sense of identity.
And you've witnessed that? You've had people be
every single day.
And they tell you like, "Hey, I've been there."
Yeah, like I've had a woman come up to me, and I have a show with Frank Sinatra in it, and I had a woman come up and say, "Oh, Frank Sinatra put me to bed one night," and they explain the whole story, how that happened, et cetera, et cetera. And I had a woman come up and say, "You'll never know what you did for me today." I said, "What?" She said, "You brought my husband back to me." So it's very profound things, and that happens every single day.
I wish we could continue this much longer. And before I finish the interview, I always ask the question, God, I wish we could continue. But in your opinion, what's the meaning of life?
That's just like that's too heavy. I don't. No, I won't even take a stab at that one.
Okay. What's the secret to marriage?
Oh my God. Well, since you're talking to a divorced person, but
you enjoy your life better?
No. I wish I were married. When I see people that have been married 50 years, 60 years, et cetera, I think everybody goes through ups and downs, and I think it's just all about commitment. I mean, you make the commitment, and if you stay with it, I think those people are going to be happier, down the road. That's been my experience from life, seeing people get divorced or stay married.
Nice, makes sense. So, how can people find your stuff on the internet, or just plug your stuff?
Yeah, well, the website is the Memory Lane Shows, plural.com. That's the website, and can find out more there.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here first, straight from Maine. Signing out.